Imagine this. You're nestled in a cozy corner of a quiet cafe, the warmth of your favorite drink cradled in your hands. Outside, the world buzzes with urgency, voices overlapping, engines roaring, life hurtling forward like a runaway train. But here, in this stillness, you're alone. No distractions. Just you, your thoughts, and the gentle rhythm of your breath. How does this feel? Is there a quiet contentment, or does the silence prick at you like an uninvited guest? Do you reach for your phone, scrolling mindlessly, desperate to fill the void with notifications, messages, or the fleeting dopamine rush of a like? If so, you're not alone. In a world obsessed with connection, many of us have forgotten how to simply be. Why solitude feels like loneliness. The discomfort of being alone isn't accidental. From childhood, we're conditioned to seek validation from the outside world. A parent's approving nod, a teacher's gold star, the roar of applause at a graduation ceremony. These external rewards shape our sense of self-worth. Over time, we begin to believe that our value is tied to others' approval. But what happens when the applause stops? When the messages dry up or the likes don't come fast enough? Suddenly, the emptiness feels vast, and we scramble to fill it. Another scroll, another post, another distraction. We've become hostages to a cycle of seeking validation, mistaking it for genuine fulfillment. The illusion of external validation. Let's pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Breathe in deeply, then exhale slowly. Imagine the world's noise fading like a distant echo. Now ask yourself, why do I crave approval? Why does a compliment feel like sunlight on your skin, while silence feels like a shadow? Think back to the last time you felt proud. Was it because you accomplished something meaningful, or because someone else noticed? If no one had acknowledged your success, would it still have felt as sweet? This is the trap of external validation. It convinces us that our happiness is contingent on others. But if your joy is always in someone else's hands, can it ever truly belong to you? Breaking free. The Buddhist path to inner peace. Welcome to Wisdom, BW, where we unravel life's deepest truths through the lens of Buddhist wisdom. Today we're diving into a radical idea. True happiness isn't found in the approval of others, but in the quiet strength of your own presence. Buddhist monks don't seek solitude to escape the world. They embrace it to connect with it. In silence, they discover the voice of wisdom, the unshakable peace that lies beneath the chaos. As the Buddha taught, happiness does not come from having more, but from needing less. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's an invitation to listen deeply to the parts of yourself that the noise of life drowns out. Your journey begins here. So how do we cultivate this inner peace? Start small. 1. Sit with discomfort. When silence feels unsettling, lean into it. Breathe. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Over time, this practice transforms discomfort into curiosity. 2. Reframe success. Ask yourself, what brings me joy independently of others' opinions? A walk in nature, a creative project, the simple act of breathing? 3. Practice gratitude. Each day acknowledge one thing you appreciate about yourself, not for how it looks to others, but for how it feels to you. Join the conversation. Before we go deeper, we need your voice. Thousands visit our channel, but only a fraction subscribe. If this resonates with you, take 10 seconds to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us share these insights with others. What's your relationship with solitude? Do you find peace in stillness, or does it unsettle you? Share your thoughts below. Let's build a community that thrives on inner wisdom. The power of being unshakable. Now return to that cafe. The drink is still warm. The world still rushes outside. But this time, you sit differently. You're not waiting for a message or a validation. You're simply here, complete in your own presence. The silence isn't empty, it's alive, vast, and yours. In the next episode of Wisdom W, we'll explore mindfulness practices to deepen your connection with yourself. Until then, remember, the greatest journey isn't outward, it's inward. What will you discover when you finally stop seeking and simply be? The gift of self-awareness, letting go of external validation. A man once approached the Buddha, his mind burdened by the weight of others' opinions. "Master," he said, trembling slightly, "some people speak of me with admiration, while others speak of me with disdain. I no longer know who I truly am." The Buddha listened calmly, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of countless lifetimes. Then, with a gentle smile, he posed a question. Imagine a stranger offers you a precious gift, but you refuse to accept it. To whom does the gift belong? The man paused, his brow furrowed in thought. After a moment he replied, "To the one who offered it." "Exactly," the Buddha said. "Praise and criticism are like that gift. They are not yours unless you choose to take them. They belong to those who give them, not to you." This simple parable holds a profound truth. The opinions of others are not reflections of your true self. They are merely projections of another's mind, shaped by their own biases, fears, and desires. To accept them as your own is to hand over the keys to your peace of mind. The trap of external validation. In today's world, this lesson is more urgent than ever. Consider the paradox of social media. A single notification, a like, a comment, a share, can flood us with a sense of validation, as if our worth is measured in pixels and algorithms. But when the notifications dwindle, doubt seeps in like a silent thief. Did I do something wrong? Am I not interesting enough? Do I even matter? Yet, pause for a moment. Did you cease to exist when no one was looking? Were you any less valuable when no one acknowledged you? Your existence does not depend on the eyes of others. You are not defined by the number of likes, the tone of a compliment, or the absence of criticism. These are fleeting illusions, shadows cast by the minds of others. The freedom of letting go. Imagine standing in a vast open field, the wind brushing against your skin, the sun warming your face. You are whole, complete, without the need for anyone's approval. This is the freedom that comes from letting go of external validation. It is not about ignoring others, but about understanding that their opinions are not your truth. When someone praises you, you can smile and appreciate their kindness without letting it inflate your ego. When someone criticizes you, you can listen without letting it diminish your self-worth. You become the master of your own narrative, rather than a puppet pulled by the strings of others' expectations. The practice of inner stillness. To cultivate this freedom, begin with small acts of mindfulness. One pause before reacting. When someone offers praise or criticism, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this kind? Is this even about me? Often the answer will reveal that their words are more about them than you. 2. Anchor yourself in the present. When doubt creeps in, return to your breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Notice the sensations in your body. These are real, tangible truths, not the fleeting judgments of others. 3. Celebrate your silent victories. Find joy in moments that no one sees. A kind word you speak to yourself, a task you complete with integrity, a quiet act of compassion. These are the true measures of your worth. The paradox of visibility. Social media has taught us to equate visibility with value, but visibility is an illusion. You existed before anyone noticed you, and you will exist long after the attention fades. Your worth is not tied to how many people see you, but to how deeply you see yourself. So the next time you feel elated by praise or wounded by criticism, remember the Buddha's words. You do not have to accept the gift. Let it rest with those who offer it. Instead, turn your gaze inward. There, in the quiet stillness, you will find the unshakable truth of who you are, a being worthy of peace, regardless of the world's opinions. When you stop chasing validation and start living from within, you discover something extraordinary. You were always enough. The rest is just noise. There is a story of a Zen monk who lived in a quiet village. People came to him for wisdom, seeking his approval, his guidance. One day, a man insulted him in front of the villagers, calling him a fraud. The monk simply smiled and walked away. Confused, his disciples asked, "Master, does his insult not hurt you?" The monk laughed and said, "When someone hands you a cup of poison, you do not have to drink it. Now look at your own life. How many cups of poison have you accepted? How many moments of peace have you given away because of what someone else said or thought? The world is full of voices, but not all of them matter. Some will praise you today and forget you tomorrow. Some will criticize you today and respect you later. And some will never understand you at all. If your happiness is tied to these voices, you will always be at their mercy. So what is the way out? How do you break free from this endless cycle of seeking approval and fearing rejection? The first step is awareness. See the pattern. Notice when you feel the need to be validated. Ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Who am I trying to impress? What do I truly gain from this? Once you see the illusion for what it is, it begins to lose its power over you. The second step is acceptance. Accept that not everyone will see you the way you want to be seen. Accept that people's opinions change like the wind. Accept that you are not here to please everyone. You are here to be at peace with yourself. And the third step, let go. Let go of the need to prove yourself. Let go of the habit of seeking approval. Let go of the fear of being misunderstood. When you stop chasing validation, something incredible happens. You become free. There is a story of a lotus flower that grows in a muddy pond. The water around it is dark, full of dirt and decay. But the lotus does not care. It rises above the water, untouched by the mud, blooming in perfect peace. Be like the lotus. Let the world say what it wants, do what it wants, believe what it wants. You are not the mud, you are not the water, you are the lotus, untouched, whole, complete within yourself. So the next time you find yourself worrying about what someone thinks of you, remember this. Nothing they say can add to you, and nothing they say can take away from you. You already are enough, always have been, always will be. The Buddhist perspective on inner contentment. Sit with me for a moment, let go of everything else. The worries of yesterday, the expectations of tomorrow. Just be here. Breathe in. Feel the air entering your body. Breathe out. Let everything go. Now ask yourself, what does happiness mean to you? Is it something you chase, something you hope to find one day, or is it something that already exists within you, waiting to be uncovered? People spend their lives searching for happiness in the outside world. They believe it comes from success, wealth, relationships, or recognition. They think, if I get this job, I will be happy. If I find the right partner, I will be happy. If I buy this house, I will be happy. But have you ever noticed that when one desire is fulfilled, another takes its place? The moment you get what you want, your mind moves to the next thing, and just like that, happiness slips through your fingers, always just out of reach. A man once came to the Buddha and said, I have everything I could ever want, wealth, status, respect, but I still feel empty inside. Why is that? The Buddha looked at him and smiled. Imagine a man who is thirsty. He sees a river, but instead of drinking the water, he takes a bucket and starts pouring more water into the river, hoping it will quench his thirst. Will he ever succeed? The man shook his head. No, master. He must drink the water, not pour more into it. The Buddha nodded. And so it is with happiness. You do not need to add more to your life to be happy. You simply need to drink from the well within you. But how do you do that? How do you find happiness within yourself when the world constantly tells you that you need more? The first step is understanding that happiness is not something you achieve. It is something you uncover. It has always been there, hidden beneath layers of desires, fears, and distractions. Imagine a clear blue sky. It is always there above you, vast and endless, but sometimes clouds cover it. Sometimes storms rage, and you cannot see the sky at all. But does that mean the sky has disappeared? Number. It is still there, unchanged, waiting for the clouds to pass. Your inner peace, your happiness, is like that sky. The worries of life, the desires, the disappointments, these are just passing clouds. They come and go, but your true nature remains the same. The problem is, people spend their whole lives chasing the clouds, trying to control them, trying to make them perfect, instead of looking beyond them. A young monk once asked his master, "What is the secret to happiness?" The master took him to a quiet pond. The water was still, reflecting the trees and sky perfectly. Then the master picked up a stone and threw it into the pond. Ripples spread across the surface, distorting the reflection. "Look," the master said, "this is what happens when the mind is disturbed. When you chase desires, when you cling to things, your mind becomes restless and you cannot see clearly. But if you stop disturbing the water, what happens?" The young monk watched as the ripples slowly faded and the pond became still again. Happiness, the master said, is not something you add to your life. It is what remains when you stop disturbing your mind. Look at your own life. How often do you disturb your own peace? How often do you let your mind chase things outside of you, instead of allowing it to settle? The world will always tempt you with more success, more possessions, more distractions. But true contentment does not come from adding more. It comes from letting go. Think of a traveler carrying a heavy bag on his shoulders. He has been walking for miles, exhausted, but he refuses to put the bag down. He believes that what is inside is too important to leave behind. But when he finally lets go, he feels a relief, unlike anything else. The weight is gone. He is free. This is what letting go feels like. It is not about giving up everything you own or isolating yourself from the world. It is about releasing the idea that you need something outside of yourself to be whole. It is about realizing that happiness is not in the next achievement, the next relationship, or the next possession. It is in this moment, right here, right now. A great Zen master once said, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The wisdom in these words is simple but deep. Be present. Do not complicate life by overthinking, by comparing, by wishing for something else. If you are eating, enjoy the food. If you are resting, embrace the rest. If you are alone, do not see it as loneliness. See it as an opportunity to meet yourself, to truly understand who you are without the noise of the world. If you can learn to find joy in your own company, you will never be at the mercy of others. You will not need constant validation. You will not fear solitude. You will not feel lost when life changes. Instead, you will stand like a mountain, steady, grounded, unshaken by the winds of the world. So ask yourself, are you searching for happiness outside, pouring water into an already full river? Or are you ready to drink from the well within? The choice has always been yours. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. Sit with me for a moment. Close your eyes. Listen to the silence around you. Do not fear it. Do not rush to fill it with noise, just be with it. Most people do not know how to sit in silence. The moment they find themselves alone, they reach for their phones, turn on music, or seek conversation. They feel uneasy. They mistake silence for emptiness. But silence is not empty. It is full. It is the space where truth reveals itself, where the mind finds clarity, where the soul whispers its deepest wisdom. A student once asked his Zen master, "Why do you always sit in silence? Why do you not say more words of wisdom?" The master smiled and said, "Because words point to truth, but silence allows you to feel it. Think of the vast sky. If you fill it with smoke, can you see the stars? If you stir the ocean constantly, can you see your reflection in the water? This is what noise does to the mind. It clouds your vision. It keeps you restless. It prevents you from hearing the most important voice, the one inside you. Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable people become in silence? Two people sitting together, if no words are spoken, they feel the need to break the silence with small talk. A person walking alone often plugs in their headphones to keep their mind occupied. But why? Why do we fear silence so much? Because silence forces us to face ourselves, and many people are afraid of what they will find. A man once came to the Buddha saying, "Master, I feel restless. My mind is never still. I cannot bear to be alone. What should I do?" The Buddha handed him a bowl of water and said, "Look into this water. What do you see?" The man peered in. "I see nothing but ripples." The Buddha nodded. "Now place it down and wait." The man set the bowl down slowly. The ripples disappeared and the water became still. "Now look again," the Buddha said. The man looked. "Now I see my own reflection." The Buddha smiled. This is the nature of the mind. When it is constantly disturbed, you cannot see clearly, but when you allow it to settle, your true self is revealed. This is the gift of silence. It does not take anything away from you. It gives you back to yourself. Look at a tree standing alone in a vast field. It does not seek company. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, fully present, deeply rooted, perfectly whole. It does not need to prove anything. It does not need to be seen. And yet, its presence is powerful. Even in its stillness, it gives shade, it gives oxygen, it gives beauty to the world. You are like that tree. You do not need to be constantly engaged in conversation and entertainment, in distractions to have value. Your presence alone is enough. But the world does not teach you this. The world tells you that to be alone is to be lonely, that to be quiet is to be forgotten, that to sit in silence is to waste time. But this is a great illusion. A great Zen master once said, "The greatest conversations happen in silence." What did he mean by this? That when the mind is still, you hear things you could never hear before. You hear the unspoken truths within you. You hear the lessons that life has been trying to teach you. You hear the wisdom that has always been present, waiting for you to listen. Imagine sitting by a river. The water flows effortlessly. It does not rush. It does not resist. It simply moves. If you sit long enough, you begin to notice things you never did before. The way the light dances on the surface, the soft whispers of the wind, the rhythm of the ripples. You realize that the river has always been speaking, you just never listened. Now think about your own life. How much have you missed because you were too busy filling the silence with noise? How many answers were already within you, but you were too distracted to hear them? The beauty of solitude is that it allows you to return to yourself. It is not a prison, it is freedom. It is the space where you meet yourself as you truly are, without the opinions of others, without the expectations of society, without the distractions of the world. A disciple once asked his Zen master, "Master, I am afraid of being alone. What if I do not like what I find?" The master smiled and said, "Then you have found your greatest work, to make peace with yourself." Many people run from solitude because they fear the thoughts that arise when they are alone, the regrets, the insecurities, the memories they have tried to bury. But you cannot outrun yourself forever. The only way to be free is to sit with these thoughts, to observe them, to understand them, and then to let them go. When you stop fearing silence, you start hearing life more clearly. You begin to see beauty in small things, a single raindrop, a falling leaf, the sound of the wind through the trees. You realize that joy was never in the noise. It was in the presence, in the awareness, in the simplicity of being. So I ask you, can you sit in silence without fear? Can you let go of the need for constant stimulation? Can you allow yourself to simply exist, without judgment, without expectation, without distraction? If you can, you will discover something profound. You will realize that you were not empty. You never were. The silence was never a void. It was always full of wisdom, full of peace, full of you. Embracing silence and stillness, sit with me for a moment. Just be still. Feel the air around you. Listen not to the noise of the world, but to the silence that exists between sounds. In that silence, there is something deeper, something that cannot be explained in words. Have you ever noticed how rare silence has become? Everywhere you go, there is noise, conversations, music, notifications, endless distractions. And when everything around you is quiet, your own thoughts start to make noise, filling the space with worries, memories, and plans for the future. Most people are afraid of silence. When they are alone, they immediately reach for something to fill the emptiness, a phone, a television, a conversation, anything to escape the quiet. But tell me, why is silence so uncomfortable? Why do people run from it? There was once a young man who came to a Zen master and said, "Master, I cannot bear to be alone. The silence makes me uneasy and my thoughts overwhelm me. What should I do?" The master smiled and handed the young man a bowl of water. "Look into this water," he said. "What do you see?" The young man looked. "I see my reflection," he said. The master then stirred the water with his finger. "Now look again. What do you see?" The young man replied, "I see nothing but ripples and distortion." The master nodded. That is what happens when your mind is disturbed by distractions and noise. You cannot see clearly, but if you sit in stillness and wait, the ripples will settle and clarity will return. Silence is not emptiness. It is not loneliness. It is the space where truth reveals itself. But most people never give themselves the chance to experience it. They avoid it because in silence, there are no distractions. In silence, they are forced to face themselves. Look at the world today. People are always busy, always moving from one thing to another. They fill their days with tasks, entertainment, and conversations, believing that doing more will bring them happiness. But the more they do, the more restless they become. They lie down at night, exhausted, yet unable to sleep because their minds are still running. Have you ever felt this way, as if no matter how much you do, something still feels incomplete? The Buddha once said, "Be silent as a broken god that no longer vibrates." What does this mean? It means that real peace comes when you no longer react to everything around you, when you no longer let every word, every event, every thought disturb your inner stillness. But how do you embrace silence when you are so used to noise? How do you find peace when your own mind refuses to be quiet? The first step is simple. Stop running. Stop trying to escape the silence. Instead, welcome it, sit with it, let it surround you. At first, it may feel strange, even uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. It will try to pull you back into distractions. It will tell you that you are wasting time, that you should be doing something. But if you stay, if you just sit and listen, something magical happens. There is a story of a Zen student who asked his master, "What is the greatest teaching you can give me?" The master simply sat in silence. Minutes passed. The student grew impatient. "Master," he said, "I asked you a question. Why do you not answer?" The master smiled. "I have answered you. You were just too busy waiting for words to hear it." Silence is a teacher. It reveals what words cannot. It shows you who you are beneath all the noise of the world. But to hear it, you must be willing to listen. Imagine sitting by a still lake. At first, all you see is the surface. But if you wait long enough, if you let the water settle, you begin to see what lies beneath. Fish swimming, stones resting at the bottom, the quiet life hidden beneath the ripples. Your mind is the same. When you let it settle, you see deeper truths that were always there, but hidden by noise. So take a moment today. Sit in silence, even if only for a few minutes. Let go of the need to fill the space with distractions. Do not try to silence your thoughts. Just observe them. Watch them come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. And in the gaps between those thoughts, in the spaces where nothing is said, you will begin to feel something new, a sense of peace that does not rely on anything outside of you, a happiness that exists not because of what you do, but because of who you are. The greatest wisdom is not found in words, it is found in the space between them. And the greatest peace is not found in doing more, it is found in learning to simply be. Understanding the root of unhappiness, sit quietly for a moment. Let go of everything you are holding on to, your thoughts, your worries, your desires. Just breathe. Feel the stillness around you. Now ask yourself a simple question. What is stopping you from being happy? Most people believe that happiness is something they must find, something they must chase. They say, I will be happy when I have more money. I will be happy when I find the right person. I will be happy when my problems are solved. But this kind of thinking only creates suffering, because every time they get what they want, the mind moves to the next thing, and the cycle never ends. A young man once came to the Buddha and asked, "Why do I always feel restless? Why do I never feel satisfied?" The Buddha picked up a glass of water and said, "If you stir this water with your finger, will you be able to see your reflection?" The young man shook his head. "No, master. The water is too disturbed." The Buddha smiled, "And that is why you cannot see happiness. Your mind is constantly disturbed by desires, by comparisons, by expectations. You chase after things, hoping they will bring you peace, but in chasing, you only create more disturbance." The young man asked, "Then what should I do?" The Buddha placed the glass on the table. "Do nothing," he said. "Just let the water settle." This is the secret that few people understand. Happiness is not something you need to chase. It is already within you. But your mind is too restless to see it. The more you seek happiness outside of yourself, the more you push it away. Imagine a man running in a field, trying to catch the wind. No matter how fast he runs, no matter how hard he tries, the wind always escapes him. But if he stops running, if he simply stands still, the wind touches his skin effortlessly. Happiness is the same. It is not something you catch. It is something you allow. But for that, you must stop disturbing yourself. Look at your own life. How often do you tell yourself that you need something more to be happy? How often do you compare yourself to others and feel inadequate? How often do you look at what you don't have instead of appreciating what you do? This is the reason for unhappiness, not because you lack something, but because you believe you do. A Zen master once told his students, "A poor man and a rich man can both be unhappy. A lonely man and a man with many friends can both be unhappy. An old man and a young man can both be unhappy." Why? Because unhappiness does not come from the outside. It comes from the mind that refuses to be content. The problem is not your circumstances. It is your attachment to an idea of how things should be. You believe that life must be perfect for you to be happy. You believe that you must be successful, loved, admired. But even when you have those things, do they truly satisfy you, or do they just create new worries? A man once approached his Zen master and said, "I have spent my whole life working hard. I have built a fortune, but now I am afraid of losing it. How can I be at peace?" The master took him into a river and handed him a heavy stone. "Hold this stone," he said. "Now, walk into the river." The man stepped into the river, but the stone was too heavy, and he struggled to keep his balance. "Let go of the stone," the master said. The man hesitated. "But this stone is valuable." The master smiled. "Is it more valuable than your peace?" Slowly the man opened his hands and let the stone fall into the water. Immediately he felt lighter. The current of the river no longer fought against him. He could stand with ease. The master said, "This is how life works. The more you hold on to, the heavier your suffering. Let go, and you will be free. So many people carry unnecessary burdens, expectations, regrets, fears. They hold on to them tightly, afraid to let go. But what do these things bring them? Only more suffering. If you can learn to release them, you will see that happiness is not something you need to earn. It is already there, waiting for you to stop holding on to what weighs you down. A wise monk once said, "If you want to be happy, stop trying to be happy." At first, this may sound strange, but think about it. The more you try to be happy, the more you create the idea that happiness is something missing from your life. But if you simply live, if you stop searching and start being present, you will see that happiness is already here. The sound of the birds in the morning, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the breath entering and leaving your body, these simple things are enough. They have always been enough, but people ignore them because they are too focused on something bigger, something grander. They wait for happiness to come in the form of success, relationships, recognition, and in waiting, they miss the happiness that is already in front of them. So ask yourself, what are you chasing? What are you holding on to that is keeping you from peace? If you could let go of even one thing, what would it be? Happiness is not a reward. It is not something you get after achieving something great. It is in this moment, in this breath, and in this stillness. The only question is, are you willing to stop chasing and finally see it? Let your silence be the loudest answer. Sit with me for a moment. Just breathe. Feel the air into your lungs and then let it go. Now listen, not to me, but to the silence that surrounds us. Do you hear it? It is always there, beneath the noise of the world, beneath the thoughts in your mind. But most people never notice it. In today's world, everyone wants to be heard. They want to explain, to argue, to prove themselves. But tell me, have you ever seen peace come from an argument? Have you ever found happiness in trying to force someone to understand you? Words can be powerful, but often they only create more noise. There was once a man who was insulted by another. The other man shouted at him, called him names, and tried to provoke him, but the man remained silent. He did not react. He simply looked at the one insulting him with a calm smile. After some time, the angry man became confused. "Why do you not respond?" he asked. "Why do you not defend yourself?" The calm man said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The angry man thought for a moment and said, "To the one who offered it, of course." The calm man nodded. "Then why should I accept your anger?" The angry man had no answer. His own fire began to fade because it had nothing to burn. This is the power of silence. It is not weakness. It is not fear. It is wisdom. When you refuse to react to negativity, when you do not allow the words and actions of others to disturb your peace, you become untouchable. But most people do the opposite. When someone says something unkind, they rush to defend themselves. They argue. They shout. They try to prove that they are right. But what does this achieve? Does it bring peace, or does it only create more conflict? A Zen master once told his students, "The one who speaks does not always win. The one who stays silent does not always lose." True wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet. Silence is not about weakness. It is about control. It is about choosing not to waste your energy on things that do not serve you. Have you ever tried to argue with someone who is already convinced they are right? No matter what you say, they will not listen. They will only wait for their turn to speak. And the more you argue, the more they resist. But if you remain silent, if you do not give them fuel for their fire, their energy will fade. Your mind is like this cup, the master said. You keep filling it with noise, but it is already full. You do not give yourself the chance to empty it, to simply be. That is why you suffer. The man asked, "Then how can I be happy alone?" The master took a deep breath and said, "By understanding that you are not alone, you are always with yourself." This is what most people do not understand. Being alone does not mean being lonely. Loneliness comes when you resist your own presence, when you reject yourself, when you believe that you need something or someone outside of you to feel whole. Imagine a tree standing alone in a vast field. It does not cry for company. It does not wish to be somewhere else. It simply stands, rooted in its own existence, content with the sky above and the earth below. If the wind comes, it bends. If the rain falls, it drinks. It does not resist life. It accepts it. And this is the secret: acceptance. When you accept yourself, when you stop running from your own company, you will see that solitude is not something to fear. It is a gift. In the heart of a mist-shrouded temple, a young student approached his Zen master, his brow furrowed with confusion. "Master," he began, "why do you choose to spend so much time alone? Is it not the nature of humans to seek connection?" The master, sipping tea from a chipped ceramic cup, set it down gently on the tatami mat. His eyes, like ancient pools of stillness, held a smile that seemed to cradle the weight of the world. "Ah," he said, "but I do not choose solitude. I embrace it as one would a warm blanket on a winter's night. Why chase the flickering shadows of others when I have already found the fire within?" The student shifted, uneasy. "But does loneliness not gnaw at your heart?" The master laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a breeze. "Loneliness is a guest who knocks only when the door is left ajar. I have closed it, not out of fear, but out of love, for my own company, for the quiet that hums with truth." The student frowned. "How can you be content when others gather in circles, their laughter spilling like sunlight? Do you not yearn to join them?" The master leaned forward, his voice softening. "I see them, yes. But I also see the hollow spaces between their smiles, their phones glowing like tethers, their eyes darting for approval. They mistake noise for connection, just as a child mistakes a mirror for a window. Tell me, when you crave what others have, is it their joy you desire, or the fear of missing out that gnaws at you?" The student fell silent, the weight of the question settling like dew on grass. Years later, a restless man trekked through the Himalayan foothills, his breath ragged, his mind a storm of self-doubt. He had always equated solitude with failure, a sign that no one wanted him. One evening, he stumbled upon an old monk meditating by a lake, his silhouette etched against the twilight. "Why do you sit here alone?" the man blurted, frustration seeping into his voice. "Don't you feel the emptiness?" The monk opened his eyes, their depth reflecting the stars above. "Come closer," he murmured. As the man approached, the monk gestured to the lake. "Look into the water. What do you see?" The man knelt, peering into the glass-like surface. His reflection stared back, a face both familiar and strange, unguarded, untamed. "Now," the monk said, "stir the water with your hand." Reluctantly, the man obliged. Ripples spread, distorting his image until it vanished. The water darkened, opaque. The monk's voice cut through the chaos. "Your mind is like this lake. When you chase crowds, when you cling to noise, you muddy the waters of your soul. You lose sight of who you are, mistaking the chaos for clarity." The man's breath caught. He had spent years drowning in the clamor of others' lives, scrambling for promotions, laughing at jokes he didn't find funny, posting photos to feed an invisible audience, all to avoid the emptiness of silence. The monk continued, "But when you sit still, when you let the mud settle, your true face emerges. Solitude is not a prison, it is a mirror. Only in stillness can you ask, 'Who am I beyond the roles I play?'" As the moon rose, the man sat by the lake, watching the water slowly clear. For the first time, he didn't flinch from his reflection. The illusion of the crowd. Modern life thrums with the same ancient fear. Am I enough? Social media amplifies this whisper into a roar. We curate highlights, measure worth in pixels, and mistake the ding of a notification for a heartbeat. Yet when the screen dims, the void yawns wider. Did we exist more brightly when liked, less when ignored? The answer lies in the lake. The ripples of others' opinions, praise, criticism, indifference are not reflections of your essence. They are weather patterns, fleeting and external. Your true self is the stillness beneath. How to embrace solitude as a practice. 1. Sit with yourself. Begin with 5 minutes of silence daily. Notice the discomfort, then breathe through it. Loneliness is a story you tell yourself. Stillness is the truth. 2. Unplug rituals. Designate screen-free hours. Replace scrolling with a walk, a sketch, or simply staring at the sky. Ask, what do I crave when I reach for my phone? Connection or an escape from myself? 3. Rewrite the narrative. When FOMO strikes, pause. Is the allure of the party, the post, the group chat rooted in desire or in fear? Journal the difference. 4. Ask the mirror. Question. In moments of doubt, close your eyes and whisper, who am I beyond what others see? The answer isn't found in a crowd, it's found in the quiet. The final reflection. The next time you feel the pull of loneliness, remember, it is not solitude that wounds you, but your resistance to it. Like the monk by the lake, you are already whole. The world may rush, opinions may crash like waves, but your peace is an anchor. As Rumi wrote, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Will you spend your life chasing echoes, or will you dare to listen to the silence? The answer is not out there. It's in the quiet space between your breaths, waiting for you to finally arrive. This is the journey that few are willing to take, the journey of sitting with yourself, of being with your thoughts without trying to escape them. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but in that discomfort lies your greatest lesson. The world teaches you that happiness comes from relationships, from connections, from being surrounded by people. But the truth is, if you cannot be happy alone, you will never be happy with others. Because no matter how many people surround you, if your heart is restless, if your mind is unkind to itself, loneliness will follow you everywhere. Think of a candle. It does not need another candle to shine. It simply burns, giving light, whether it is alone or among others. You are the same. Your happiness, your peace, does not come from outside. It comes from within. So sit with yourself. Listen to your thoughts, but do not fight them. Let them come. Let them go. Observe them like clouds in the sky. See yourself not as incomplete, not as someone waiting for others to complete them, but as whole. And when you do this, you will realize something beautiful. You are enough. You always have been. The company of others may add to your joy, but it is not the source of it. A man once asked his Zen master, "What is the greatest wisdom?" The master replied, "To need nothing but yourself." And so I ask you now, can you sit with yourself in silence and feel at peace? If you can, you have found the secret. If you cannot, then that is where your journey begins. Embracing silence as your greatest teacher, close your eyes for a moment and listen, not to the world outside, but to the world within. Do you hear it? The endless thoughts, the whispers of the past, the worries of the future. This is the noise that fills the mind when silence is absent. Most people fear silence. They seek to drown it with music, with conversations, with distractions of every kind. They believe silence is empty, that it is loneliness. But silence is not empty, it is full. It is where wisdom lives, where truth is found, where the heart finally has a voice. There was once a student who came to a Zen master and said, "Master, teach me wisdom." The master simply sat in silence. Minutes passed. The student grew impatient. "Master, are you not going to say anything?" The master smiled and said, "Do you hear that?" The student listened. "I hear the silence." The student was confused. "But silence says nothing." The master nodded. "Exactly. In the world of endless noise, silence is the rarest treasure. People fill their lives with words, but few take the time to understand them. They listen to others, but rarely to themselves. They talk to impress, but forget to speak with meaning. A wise man once said, "The more you talk, the less you hear." Imagine you were standing by a still lake. The surface is calm, perfectly reflecting the sky above. But if you throw a stone into the water, ripples will disturb the reflection. This is what happens in the mind when there is too much noise, too many thoughts. The truth becomes unclear. But when you allow silence, when you let the ripples settle, everything becomes clear again. Many people misunderstand silence. They think it means doing nothing. But silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of awareness. It is the space where the deepest realizations happen. A warrior once asked a monk, "How can I find peace?" The monk handed him a bowl and said, "Go to the river, fill this bowl with water, and bring it back without spilling a single drop." The warrior carefully made his way to the river, filled the bowl, and walked back slowly, focusing on not letting a single drop spill. When he returned, the monk asked, "What did you think about on your way back?" The warrior said, "Nothing but the water." The monk smiled. That is the secret. When your mind is fully present, when you focus only on what is in front of you, peace follows. Most people live in constant noise, filling their minds with unnecessary worries, endless distractions, and unnecessary conversations. But if they embrace silence, even for a moment, they would discover a powerful truth. Silence speaks louder than words. There is an old Zen saying, "Do not speak unless your words are more valuable than silence." Imagine how different life would be if people truly lived by this. How much suffering could be avoided if words were chosen carefully. How much peace could be found if people learned to listen more than they spoke. A young man once came to his Zen master and asked, "Why do you not answer all my questions?" The master said, "If a man is thirsty, should I pour a whole river into his mouth?" The young man laughed. "No, that would drown him." The master nodded. "Then why should I drown you with words when a few will do?" Silence is not about saying nothing. It is about knowing when to speak. It is about understanding that not everything needs a response, that not every argument needs to be won. True wisdom often comes not from speaking, but from listening. A bird does not need to explain why it sings. The sun does not announce why it rises. They simply exist in silence, fulfilling their purpose. Humans, too, could learn this lesson. Not everything needs to be said. Not every thought needs to be voiced. Sometimes the most powerful answer is silence itself. There was once a man who was insulted by another. Instead of arguing, he simply smiled and walked away. A bystander asked, "Why did you not defend yourself?" The man said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The bystander replied, "To the one who offered it." The man nodded. "Then why should I accept his anger?" This is the power of silence. It is not weakness, it is strength. It is the refusal to be controlled by the noise of the world. Silence is also where self-discovery happens. When you remove the distractions, when you sit with yourself in stillness, you begin to see who you truly are. Many fear this because they are afraid of what they will find. But the truth is, you cannot hide from yourself forever. Sooner or later, you must face yourself. There is a reason why monks spend time in solitude and silent meditation. It is not to escape the world, but to understand it better. When you remove the noise, the truth becomes clear. A man once asked a Zen master, "How do I find the answers to my questions?" The master led him to a quiet place and said, "Sit here and do nothing." The man was confused. "But I came for wisdom." The master smiled. "Then be silent. Wisdom is not something that is given. It is something that is realized." And so I ask you, when was the last time you sat in silence? When was the last time you listened, not to the world, but to yourself? If you seek peace, seek silence. If you seek wisdom, seek stillness. The world will always be loud, but you do not have to be. Silence is your greatest teacher if you are willing to listen. The art of letting go and finding true freedom. Imagine you are holding onto a rope with all your strength. The other end of the rope is tied to a heavy rock, and the more you pull, the more exhausted you become. Your hands start to ache, your muscles tremble, but still, you refuse to let go. Why? Because you believe that holding on is the only way to survive. But what if, instead of pulling, you simply let go? This is the struggle of most people. They hold on to pain, past mistakes, toxic relationships, and unnecessary worries, believing that they must carry these burdens forever. But in truth, freedom does not come from holding on. It comes from letting go. A young man once came to a Zen master and said, "Master, I am always anxious. My mind is filled with fear and regret. How can I find peace?" The master handed him a cup and began pouring tea. The cup filled quickly, but the master did not stop. Soon the tea overflowed, spilling onto the table. The young man cried out, "Stop! The cup is full." The master smiled. "Just like your mind, it is filled with worries, regrets, and fears. There is no space for peace because you refuse to empty it." Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean that the past never happened. It simply means choosing not to be controlled by it. It means accepting what was, understanding what is, and trusting what will be. Many people struggle to let go because they believe that holding on makes them strong. But strength is not in clinging. It is in knowing when to release. A bird cannot fly unless it lets go of the branch. A river cannot flow unless it releases its water. And a person cannot be free unless they let go of what weighs them down. There was once a traveler carrying a heavy bag of stones. Every step was painful, every movement was slow. If he refused to put the bag down, a wise man saw him and asked, "Why do you carry these stones?" The traveler said, "Because they are mine." The wise man replied, "But are they helping you move forward?" The traveler thought for a moment and realized the truth. The stones were not helping. They were only making the journey harder. So he set the bag down and walked freely. Many people carry invisible bags. They carry anger from past arguments, guilt from past mistakes, and fear of an uncertain future. But the question remains, does carrying these things help, or do they only make life heavier? As a Zen master once said, "You cannot receive with closed hands." If you want peace, if you want happiness, if you want freedom, you must first let go of what no longer serves you. One of the hardest things to let go of is the need for control. People want life to go exactly as they plan. They want people to behave the way they expect. They want certainty, guarantees, and perfect outcomes. But life does not work that way. The more you try to control everything, the more you suffer. A man once tried to control the wind. He stood on a hill and shouted, "Blow this way, move that way." But the wind did not listen. It moved as it pleased, ignoring his commands. Frustrated, the man finally sat down and accepted the wind as it was, and in that moment he felt peace. Life is like the wind. It cannot be controlled. Only accept it. The more you fight it, the more exhausted you become. But when you let go, when you allow life to flow naturally, peace follows. Letting go also means releasing attachment to how things should be. Many people suffer not because of what happens, but because of how they think things should happen. They compare their lives to others. They wish for a different past. They resist the present moment. But true happiness comes when you accept life as it is, not as you wish it to be. A wise monk once said, "A flower does not ask why it blooms in spring. It simply blossoms." Humans too must learn to accept their own seasons. There will be moments of joy and moments of sorrow, moments of success and moments of failure. But if you cling to any one moment too tightly, you miss the beauty of the next. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means understanding that some things are beyond your control. It means choosing peace over unnecessary struggle. It means trusting that whatever is meant for you will come, and whatever is not meant for you will leave. A student once asked a Zen master, "How do I know what to let go of?" The master picked up a leaf and let it fall to the ground. What is naturally meant to stay will stay. What is naturally meant to go will go. Your only task is to stop resisting. Letting go is also about forgiving. Many people carry resentment, holding on to anger like a burning coal. They believe that by holding on to it, they are punishing the other person. But in reality, they are only burning themselves. The monk once told his students, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Forgiveness is not about excusing someone's behavior. It is about freeing yourself from the burden of bitterness. It is about choosing your own peace over holding on to pain. There was once a man who carried a heavy sack of rocks everywhere he went. One day someone asked him, "Why do you carry this?" The man replied, "Because someone hurt me, and I want to remember it forever." The person laughed and said, "But the only one suffering is you." The man thought for a moment, then slowly put the sack down. For the first time in years, he felt light. Letting go is not an event, it is a practice. Every day there will be things to release, some days small annoyances, other days deep wounds. But the more you practice, the lighter you become. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to? What pain? What regret? What fear are you carrying? And more importantly, is it helping you, or is it only making life harder? Close your eyes and imagine yourself setting it down. Feel the weight lifting. Feel the freedom in your heart. This is what it means to let go. In the end, life is like a river. It flows naturally, never forcing, never holding on to anything. It moves forward, always. And those who learn to flow with it, instead of fighting against it, find true peace. So let go. Let go of what was. Let go of what could have been. Let go of what is beyond your control. And watch as your life becomes lighter, freer, and more beautiful than you ever imagined. The power of the present moment. Imagine you are walking through a beautiful garden. The sun is shining, the air is fresh, the scent of flowers fills the air. But instead of enjoying the beauty around you, your mind is elsewhere. You are thinking about an argument from yesterday or worrying about what will happen tomorrow. You do not see the flowers. You do not feel the warmth of the sun. You do not breathe in the fresh air. You are physically in the garden, but mentally, you are somewhere else. This is how most people live their lives. They are either stuck in the past, thinking about mistakes, regrets, and missed opportunities, or they are lost in the future, worrying about things that may never happen. But in doing so, they miss the only moment that truly exists, the present. A student once asked his Zen master, "Master, what is the secret to happiness?" The master smiled and said, "When I eat, I eat. When I walk, I walk. When I sleep, I sleep." The student was confused. "But Master, everyone does these things." The master shook his head. When most people eat, they think about their problems. When they walk, they plan for the future. When they sleep, they dream about their worries. Their body is here, but their mind is somewhere else. True happiness comes when your body and mind are in the same place, living in the present moment. Living in the present means being fully engaged with life as it is happening. It means tasting your food instead of eating in a hurry. It means listening to someone without thinking about what to say next. It means appreciating the little moments, watching the rainfall, feeling the wind on your skin, hearing the laughter of a child. But living in the present is not always easy. The mind is like a restless monkey, always jumping from one thought to another. It reminds you of past mistakes. It creates fears about the future. It fills your mind with endless noise. One day, a man came to the Buddha and said, "My mind is always restless. I cannot find peace." The Buddha gave him a cup of water and asked him to walk across the garden without spilling a single drop. The man focused completely on the cup, carefully placing each step. When he reached the other side, the Buddha asked, "Did you notice the flowers?" The man shook his head. "No, I was focused on the cup." The Buddha smiled. In the same way, if you focus on the present moment, your mind will not wander. When you are truly present, worries disappear. The past cannot hurt you, and the future cannot scare you. You realize that the only reality is now. The present moment is like a calm lake. When you stop throwing stones of worry and regret into it, the water becomes still, and you can see clearly. But people are often afraid to be in the present because they believe they need to be busy all the time. They think that happiness will come from achieving more, buying more, or planning more. But in chasing these things, they run past the happiness that is already here. A Zen master once asked his students, "If you had one day left to live, what would you do?" Some said they would spend time with loved ones. Others said they would enjoy nature. Some said they would simply sit in silence and appreciate life. The master said, "Then why are you not doing these things now?" The truth is, every day could be our last. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. The only time to live, to love, to be happy is now. Many people say, "I will be happy when I get a better job. I will be happy when I find the right partner. I will be happy when I have more money." But happiness does not wait in the future. It is here in the small moments. It is in the smile of a stranger, in the warmth of a cup of tea, in the sound of birds singing in the morning. Once, a king asked a wise man, "Give me a phrase that is always true, in both good times and bad." The wise man said, "This too shall pass. When you are suffering, remember this. This too shall pass. No pain lasts forever. And when you are happy, remember this. This too shall pass." So cherish each moment fully before it slips away. People often resist the present because they wish things were different. But true peace comes when you accept what is. A farmer once complained, "It is too hot." Then, when it rained, he said, "Now it is too wet." Then, when it was cold, he said, "Now it is too cold." A wise man heard him and said, "The weather changes, but your mind always finds something to complain about." Happiness does not depend on the weather. It depends on your acceptance. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means making peace with the present moment. It means understanding that things are exactly as they are meant to be. If you are stuck in traffic, instead of being frustrated, use that time to breathe deeply and relax. If someone is rude to you, instead of reacting with anger, observe their pain and choose kindness. If things do not go as planned, instead of resisting, trust that life is leading you where you need to be. The Zen master once asked his students, "If a boat is empty and drifts into your boat, will you be angry?" The students said, "No, because it is empty." The master said, "Then why do you get angry when someone insults you?" Their words are empty. Their anger is their own burden. If you do not take it, it does not belong to you. Living in the present means freeing yourself from unnecessary suffering. It means seeing life as it is, without adding extra pain. So ask yourself, are you truly here in this moment, or is your mind lost in the past or the future? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the present, the warmth of the air, the sounds around you, the beating of your own heart. This moment is a gift. Do not waste it. The journey to inner peace. Imagine you have been walking on a long path searching for something. You do not know exactly what it is, but you feel that once you find it, you will finally be at peace. You have searched in achievements and relationships, in wealth and recognition, but no matter how much you find, there is still an emptiness inside. Many people live like this, always chasing happiness, but never truly feeling fulfilled. They believe that once they reach a certain goal, they will finally be at peace. But as soon as they achieve one thing, The mind moves to the next desire. This cycle never ends. A man once came to a Zen master and said, "Master, I have everything, success, money, a family, yet I feel something is missing. What is wrong with me?" The master smiled and said, "Sit by this river and watch." The man sat and watched the river flow. After a while, the master asked, "What did you see?" The man replied, "The water is always moving forward. It never stops." The master nodded. "Just like your mind, always chasing, never resting. True peace comes when you stop running. Happiness is not something to be found in the future. It is here now, within you. But the mind is restless, always searching outside, never looking inward. It is like a traveler who looks for home in every place except where he already is. In a quiet monastery nestled between ancient mountains, a monk gathered his students beneath a gnarled pine tree. "Where do you think happiness comes from?" he asked, his voice carrying the weight of decades of wisdom. One student raised his hand eagerly. "Family, master, the love of those who stand by us." Another chimed in, "Success." "Achievement gives purpose and joy." A third hesitated, then whispered, "Love. The kind that makes you feel seen, understood, alive." The monk listened, his eyes crinkling at the corners. When the students fell silent, he shook his head gently. "Happiness comes from nowhere," he said. "It is already within you. But your mind is clouded by worries, fears, distractions. You search for it in the outside world, but it has always been here, waiting for you to notice." He paused, letting the words settle like leaves on still water. "To find happiness in your own company, you must let go of what is unnecessary. Let go of the belief that you need something outside yourself to be complete. Let go of comparing yourself to others. Let go of the idea that you are not enough." The parable of the empty cup. The monk reached into his robes and pulled out a chipped ceramic cup. "A wise man once told me, if you want a cup of tea, you must first empty the cup. Imagine this cup filled to the brim with muddy water. How can you pour in fresh tea? Your mind is like this cup. If it is filled with regrets, worries, and endless desires, there is no space for peace. But if you empty it, if you let go, you will see that everything you need is already within you." He set the cup down, its emptiness speaking louder than words. Silence as a mirror. "Sit with me," the monk said, motioning to the students. As they settled cross-legged on the moss, he guided them into stillness. "Close your eyes, breathe in deeply, then exhale. Let the noise of the world fade. Now ask yourself, who am I beyond my thoughts, beyond my emotions, beyond my past or future?" The students sat in silence, some fidgeting, others breathing deeply. After a while, one opened her eyes, tears glistening. "I see." "Nothing," she admitted. The monk smiled. "Exactly. You are not the thoughts that come and go. You are not the emotions that rise and fall. You are the awareness that observes them, the stillness beneath the waves. This is your true self. This is where peace resides." The trap of external validation. Later, as the students gathered around a fire, one spoke up. "But Master, the world tells us we need validation, likes, approval, recognition. Without them, do we not become insignificant?" The monk plucked a twig from the fire and held it up. "Look at this twig. It burns brightly, but its flame is borrowed from the fire. If the fire dies, so does the twig. Now imagine a candle, self-contained, steady, unshaken by the wind. Which would you rather be?" He leaned forward. "Your worth is not decided by others. It is not something you need to prove. It is something that has always been within you." The Buddha once said, "Contentment is the greatest wealth." When you are content with yourself, nothing can disturb you. When you find peace in your own company, you will never be lonely. The river and the rock. A young man lingered after the others had left. "Master," he said, How do I stop caring about what others think? The monk handed him a smooth river rock. Throw this into the river. The young man did as he was told. The rock splashed, sank, and the water rippled outward, returning to calm. Did the river stop flowing? The monk asked. No, the young man replied. The water moved around the rock and continued. Then be like the river, the monk said. Let people say what they will. Keep flowing. The wings of trust. As the stars emerged, the monk shared one final thought. There is a saying, a bird sitting on a branch is not afraid of the branch breaking because its trust is not in the branch, but in its own wings. Do not put your trust in things that are outside of you, jobs, relationships, achievements. Trust yourself. Believe that you are enough. True freedom comes when you stop seeking approval, when you stop living for the expectations of others, and when you realize that your peace is yours to protect. The journey home. The monk stood, brushing moss from his robes. The answers were never outside. They were always within. Happiness is not in the next achievement, the next relationship, the next stage of life. It is in this moment, in the breath you take, in the silence that surrounds you. The journey to inner peace is not about going somewhere. It is about realizing that you have already arrived. He turned to leave, then paused. Before you go, there is one thing I ask of you. If these words have touched you, share them. Let them ripple outward like the river, like comment and subscribe, not for my sake, but for yours. Your journey does not end here. It is only the beginning. As the students dispersed, the monk vanished into the shadows of the pines, his laughter echoing like a bell in the night. The path to peace is not found in the noise of the world, but in the quiet of your own heart. Walk it with courage, and you will find that you were never lost at all.